If you like the video you're about to watch, make sure to hit the subscribe button and click on the notification bell to be notified when new content is uploaded.
Alright, so just doing a little quick update video on the 85 cabover. This isn't going to be a full walkthrough video. It's just going to be a walkthrough of the updates that have been done since the actual walkthrough video. So let's get to it. Alright, to start off, we have a brand new set of quarter fenders on the back. Initially one was completely missing and the one that was there was pretty mangled up, so I went ahead and got a new set on there. And then moving over here, got the trailer light wiring fixed. It wasn't working properly. When I got the truck, I actually I put a new receptacle and I moved the bracket from the backside of that over to the backside of the bracket for the exhaust, and then used all stainless hardware for mounting. And I was able to reuse the original trailer wire because by moving it over to the passenger side, I didn't need as much. So I was able to cut off about 3 or 4 feet of the wire, and that got rid of the damaged section, and I was able to strip it back and connect it to the new receptacle. And I've checked everything, and all of the functions work just as they should. So now moving over towards the front of the truck, we have new LED turn signals for the front, and then we have the factory visor has been remounted. That wasn't on initially. It just needed to be painted and put back on, reused or used all stainless steel hardware on that. And then moving down here, we have brand new passenger headlight assembly and brand new driver headlight assembly. By assembly, I mean it came with this trim ring, came with both headlights, came with these pieces that go around the headlights to actually hold them on. And behind all of this, there's a big plastic piece that this actually attaches to, and then that attaches to the actual truck cab. And then moving over here to this side, of course we have the LED turn signal there, and then we have on the battery setup, it came with 3 batteries originally, but all of the wiring was pretty trash and there was no hold down. So I just used a stainless eye bolt, which is kind of small, but it'll work for now. I'm not really expecting the batteries to necessarily bounce that much, so it's not really supporting the weight of the batteries, just kind of help hold them down a little bit to keep them from bouncing as bad. But stainless eye bolt, I just used a rubber strap like you would use for flatbed tarps, and then I replaced the negative cable and I replaced the positive cable. And these are actually one big cable. And if you take this off, you can see these just bridge all the batteries together to where you still get 12 volts, but you get more amps. And then replaced the negative and the positive running from the batteries to the truck with a brand new 2-aught battery cable. I actually bought the lugs and the cable in bulk and just made these up myself. So these are brand new. The other ones were pretty cut up. They had nicks in them and everything, broken wires, corrosion all over. So I'm actually surprised they work, but it's a whole lot better now. All right, now underneath the cab, we have both the positive and the negative wire that run over to the alternator have been replaced. And you see the positive, see the negative over here, and then also brand new alternator. All right, now over here on the driver's side underneath the cab, you can see we have that blue piece down there. We have a new power steering pump, as well as the gasket between it and the oil pump. We have new clamp, and we have a new hose running from the power steering pump up to the reservoir. Have a new clamp on this end, and then if you look, you can actually see the 2 wires that were replaced, that's 4 gauge, that are running from the new alternator back over here to the rest of our battery connections. This is what's running back to the battery, that's the 2-aught. And then also, while I was in here redoing the other cables, ignore all the grease, there actually is right here, this is the ground that runs over to the frame rail that has been replaced with 2-aught as well. All right, now moving to the inside. This was not originally mounted. This is the tower for the PTO. This has the controls for raising and lowering the dump trailer. This was not mounted, but it was in the truck. I actually cut about 2 or 2.5 inches off and then remounted everything inside of the tower. So that way, initially this was sitting up so high that the seat was interfering with being able to reach this and move it. It would hit the seat. So I lowered that down, bolted it with stainless steel hardware to the floor, just kind of touched it up with a little bit of spray paint because it was kind of beat up and chipped. But now you can actually move this all the way that way, back to neutral position, and then all the way this way. And it, even with this, it may look like it would hit the door, but it actually clears the back side of the door. I've sat in the seat and moved the controls back and forth, to simulate as if I was actually operating a dump trailer at the time, to see if it would, how comfortable it was being mounted right here, and also if it would interfere. And it doesn't. It works the way it should. So that's remounted. And then I actually scored this seat off of Marketplace. It was a local find. It's just a factory Peterbilt seat. It's leather, so it's nicer than that cloth one. It does have some tears, and it's an older seat, but it's still a million times better than what the other one was. The other one was literally welded to this plate. It wasn't even bolted in the way it should. Somebody had just made something work, and it only raised up about that much with max air in it, so it basically had no adjustment. This one will actually raise up to the point where I can't even put my feet on the floor. So this one has plenty more travel as far as when you raise it using the air pressure. I have brand new seat belts ordered. I went ahead and reused the lap belt. I didn't want to go with the newer style seat belt. I wanted to keep the lap belt like what it came in this truck, but bought these. These were custom order, and I actually picked this color to complement the stripes on the truck. And then I replaced this strap as well. That's like safety anchor strap, I think is a technical name, but I just call it the anchor strap. But it actually bolts into the floor down here, and then bolts in the same spot on the seat that the actual seat belt does. So it still allows you have slack. It allows the seat to move up and down, so the air function works. But if you were to get into a bad accident and the seat ripped out of the floor, this will actually prevent you and the seat from flying completely across the cab. It'll still keep you anchored somewhat to the truck. And let's climb in here real quick and go through some of the other stuff that's been done. I have replaced the shifter, the lower shifter cover, with just a chrome one. I replaced this piece as well because I had to in order to adapt to be able to use the non-air shifter knob. It's just a regular screw-on knob, kind of like what you put in a normal vehicle. But I went with that. It's still the same height overall. I didn't extend it or anything crazy. I kept it the same. I just wanted to change the appearance a little bit. And then I went with this little cover right here that slips over for the range selector. I'm not completely sold on that. I may just take that off and just leave the regular just black switch right there instead of the chrome, but it was cheap enough that it was worth a try to see how it looked with the rest of the chrome. But for now, that's on there. Let's see, I went ahead and fixed the differential lock and the fifth wheel lock. One of these, I think it was the fifth wheel lock, was leaking, whenever you flipped it into the unlock position, but whenever it was in the lock position, it wouldn't leak at all. And went ahead and replaced that switch just because they're pretty reasonable. So I replaced both so there's no issues down the road, and actually ordered these little plates right here. They're stainless steel, and rather than having just labels on them, they're actually engraved. I don't know if it'll show up, but they're actually engraved. It's pretty nice. And then when I replace it, I put new screws in instead of using the original screws that came in it, and these are stainless steel as well. Let's see, replaced the little fan that's in the dash, or in the ceiling, whatever. I replaced that. It's a little 2-speed fan. And then I replaced the voltage gauge. I didn't have to, but the other one was kind of faded out and just looked really bad, and I really wanted one that had the black face on it with the white letters and then the chrome trim ring around it to match this one, which had been replaced by a previous owner. But that's been replaced. That had already been replaced. And then I replaced the tachometer, and I also replaced the speedometer because neither one was working when I bought the truck. And I replaced the sensors as well in the transmission for them. And rather than connecting these to the factory wires, I actually ran my own wires back down to the sensors. So these bypass all of the original factory wiring. They're just wired straight to the sensors, and they work as they should now. Let's see, I believe that's pretty much it. Went ahead and I mounted this old Galaxy that came with it. I do still have to fix this piece of the dash, but that's broken right there. That's why this won't push in. So I still have to make a little tab that I can put behind there to give something for this to actually attach to. But I haven't, picked up a piece of aluminum or a piece of steel to make a tab with that yet, but that's on my list of things to do.